don't know what kind of glasses does that.
Well, I don't know. They got those tech classes, that they advertise on TV, 1995.
That's the ones you need.
Yeah, they're supposed to do everything for you.
Well, if you'll just look at them, the green light's on the bottom, and the yellow light's in the middle, and the red light's on top. Ain't that the way it goes?
Well, I don't know. You got to find the stoplight first.
Well, it ain't the stoplight you can't see. It's the back end of a flatbed truck.
Well, I got his attention in here.
I reckon you did. Kind of got a little attention on your truck, too, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah. Didn't hurt. I don't think if it's about $300 damage on that truck. I believe that's what the adjuster told me.
Well, they still sell you insurance?
Oh, yeah.
They don't know you too good, do they?
Yeah, I've had insurance. I've been insured continuously since 1952. I came up here, the first thing that happened to me, somebody run headlong into me on the White Bridge over there.
That's what you get for driving in the middle of the road.
And I wasn't in the middle of the road. He come across that bridge. There's a little bit of a bar to the right, and he was running a little too fast, and when he hit his brakes, it went to the left and pulled him right into that white dually I had. And I had insurance on it. He didn't have any, but my uninsured motorist paid for my damage.
I've been run over one time like that, and that guy didn't have no insurance either.
But like I say, I've had insurance continuously since 1952, so that'd be 40, that'd be 68 years I've had insurance and never been without it. And it's good to have, I guess.
Well, it is for the other fella for sure.
Well, if you
I remember when somebody snuck up on you on the wrong side of the road and run into you coming up. You remember that?
Let's see. No, I don't.
Well, whenever you was pulling out up there in the middle of town and they was coming up the wrong side of the road and run into you.
Yeah, I pulled out that driveway and they was coming up the apron the wrong side of the road and hit me right in the damn front.
And then they took your driver's license.
Well, she filed a claim against me, and I had insurance, and but I didn't turn it in because, wasn't very much damage on mine, but she turned it in, filed a claim against me, and they took my license well, they just sent them right back when they found out what was going on. So,
wonder if they ever got anything off of her?
I don't know because I didn't report any damage for them to make a claim against her on my car.
Well, that's a pretty good move. Run over you on the wrong side of the road, sneak up on you,
Yeah.
and then want you to pay for their car. I believe that. I'd like to have a new car. You reckon you could maybe turn me in too?
I'll just go out here and sit, and you can run into me and file a claim against me. Oh, I don't think the only claim I ever collected on the insurance was that uninsured motorist that I collected on when I moved, right after I first moved up here. That's for the required insurance.
Here?
Huh?
Here?
What?
They required insurance here forever, ain't they? Not
No.
forever, but a long time.
No, they didn't require any insurance when I first moved up here.
Well, they did, but they didn't make you show proof of insurance whenever you got your driver's license or if they pulled you over. But if you had a wreck and didn't have any insurance and the other guy did, you're supposed to pay for it. Now, how they figured that out, I don't know. It didn't work out real good.
I don't know, but like I say, when I moved up here, what I thought that you could carry liability insurance if you want to, but you didn't have to.
Well, if it was your fault, you better have insurance.
Oh yeah, that's always true. That's the advantage of carrying liability. It protects you Of course, I know it pays the other guy, but it keeps you from having to pay the other guy. And your liability insurance is made up of two parts. Most people don't realize that. If you have 25,000 bodily injury, then that's all it's going to pay. It don't make any difference if you kill a dozen people. And nowadays you better carry a little bit upper limits, because if you wreck one late model automobile, you're already over $25,000 in damages.
Well, I know it. You can't buy a good used anything for less than $15,000-$20,000.
That's exactly right, you know.
I saw a Jeep, and I don't reckon it's uncommon, but I saw a Jeep there, and we had, it was at Abington, Virginia, and they had a big street fair up there, and had a Jeep dealership, had a couple of Jeeps in there, and one of them was 50,000, the other 70,000, and they just Jeeps. I didn't see. I mean, I ain't got nothing against Jeeps, but I sure ain't gonna pay the price for River Bottom Farm for one.
Well, Jeeps, I've owned a bunch of them. I've owned the old Grand Wagoneer before they quit making it. I bought a brand new one. And I've owned your Cherokees, Grand Cherokees.
You ever have an old Willis?
Yeah, I had an old Willis that I bought that had hydraulic lift on the back. I used to plow with it. I used to hook up, had 3-point hitch on the back. I used to use the leveling hairs behind it, and that's I used to pull wagons and trailers and everything around the farm with it. And I used it for 2 or 3 years there, and then I sold it. That man must have spent over $1,000, $1,500 on that Jeep, because when he got through with it, it was like a brand new one. Had a full cover on it, new paint job. The engine had been completely gone through. Had the right kind of tires on it and everything. And he was proud of that thing. So yeah, I've owned a Willis Jeep, and the one I had a 3-point hitch on the back of it.
Well, you ain't got it now, though, do you?
No, sure don't. Don't got no tractor anymore either out there.
Well, we don't know whether it's gone or not.
Well, I'm going to have to bring something out there to enrich your ground, you know.
You may want to come out there and sow some grass seeds where it's been sitting out there 2 years.
Well, that may be true, you know. What do I need to say? Sow Johnson grass?
No, I got plenty of that. Last time I let somebody park a tractor, I ended up at Johnson.
You know.
I had a feller brought a ship out there and parked it for 5 years one time.
Yeah, but
Had trees, they had to cut the trees out and around it.
it's still parked right up here.
I know, but it ain't got no trees growing up around it right now. Don't know, I can't remember who that was, but I know he parked a ship out there and abandoned his ship.
Yeah. Well, you know, the laws of the sea, all you had to do was tow that thing into the dock and it was yours.
I guess I've done that. Too late now.
Yeah, she's long gone now. I enjoyed that boat. Once one night skied behind some.
Yeah, you just played with it one summer, didn't you?
Oh, I played with it a couple of summers. I didn't do much with it. That's the reason I borrowed it out there and parked it, you know.
Yeah, I know. So I couldn't do nothing with it either.
Then
You know who your friends are when they got a boat.
Then they
That won't
decided
run.
they'd tear my houseboat apart.
Well, you worked on it and remodeled it and then parked it out there. I don't know. You never did put it in the lake after you started working on it, did
No,
you?
I don't think I did. No.
It's running good. You fixed it.
Yeah, it's big old engine. I guess the engine was worth what I sold it to him for.
They've been using it for a work boat. It's working out pretty good, I reckon.
Yeah. Sure, they got two houseboats up there. Both of them look pretty good. Have you looked at them?
Yeah, but one of them sunk.
Which one?
The smaller one.
The last one they brought in?
Yeah, they bought it and it parked up there and then it sunk. And then they paid a fortune to get it drug out and brought down here. Paid more to get it out than it's worth for it sunk. They got another and sunk out there at the lot. Did you know that?
At your house, your place?
Yeah. Yeah, they've got one been sunk for 3 or 4 years out
Oh,
there.
I know. I saw it. Yeah, I've been out there since then.
I don't know. I guess if I had a boat, I'd sink it too. I got one, and I put it in the lake last summer after I'd got it all fixed up, and the guy didn't work on the parts I wanted him to work on, and put it in the lake, and it was a sinking, and we worked till midnight getting it out, and I ain't going back no more. It's a good boat, Bayliner.
Yeah, I know. I remember when that happened.
And it's got...
Well, that was one you said was sinking. I said, well, just get back and get you a running start
Yeah.
and beach it, you know.
Yeah. Well, I'm done with that. The only thing I want, I'd like to have a good canoe, maybe with a square end on it,
Right, where you could put a little,
so I could get me a girlfriend and she could hold on to that back end and kick her feet.
right, okay, paddle.
Yeah,
That's a paddle. You need to get one with big feet.
yeah.
But,
Feller
Yeah.
needs a couple of tricycle motors, one on
alrighty.
each side of paddling.
my brother had a house down at, on the Albemarle Sound, down at Arapahoe, North Carolina, and that happens to be the place where the man came from, born and raised, that created Sesame Street, and he had a house down there, and he had
You talking about
Jim what's his-
Henson?
Yeah, Henson. Yeah, I went to school with his first cousin. Jim's older than me.
He's dead too.
I know he.
I don't think he's older than you. He died before he got that old.
Well, I know he had some issues, but I went to school with his cousin, and when he come to school, he come wearing pair of loafers with heel taps on him. You could hear him coming all the way down the hall, and we used to kid him about those shoes he wore with the heel taps on him, and you could just hear him prancing down the hall.
Them suckers slick sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's where Jim Henson was from. Well, to get back what I started to tell you, my brother had a house down there, and on the wall he had a big picture that said, a boat is nothing but a hole in the water into which you pour
Poor
money.
money, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I agree with that.
You know what they say, the best two days of a boat owner's life, don't you?
What, the day he bought it and day he sold it.
That's the ones.
I don't doubt that too. I've owned a bunch of boats, you know, over the
Looks
years.
like you'd learn after a while.
we had one. We were in the Sound down at I guess that was Carolina Beach, and we're in the Sound down there behind the one of them big motels. I forget what the name of it was.
Hyatt Regency.
No, it was named after something like the Buccaneer or the I don't know what it was now, but we were we were out there in a little old boat, and we were hitting the marshes flounder gigging. Have you ever been flounder gigging?
Been what gigging?
Flounder gigging.
No, I've dug clams and I've mullet netted, but I never did do any flounder gigging.
Flounder gigging's a lot of fun, especially it was down at my brother's house on the Albemarle Sound, but we were in the Sound back behind the motels at Carolina Beach, and we had a little old boat, and we had camping lights that we'd mounted on it and turned it down. They would shine down in the water, so had very little clearance, between the water and the lights. You know, if you wasn't careful when you were running that boat, those lights would dip into the water and flip you over. So you had to be very careful there. Well, we were flounder gigging out there, and down the inland waterway, which run across the bay there, came a big line of barges. Now those barges would throw a wave up about as high as this ceiling here, and so you had to get that little boat out of the way. So we took off parts unknown, you know, to get out of the way of that line of barges that was coming down, and we didn't get far enough away from it, and that surge came and picked that little boat up and threw us plumb up on dry land. we had to get out and drag it back in the water and pour the water out of it. But flounder gigging is a lot of fun.
Sounds like a barrel of monkeys.
My brother owned that place down there about
At least two.
5 or 6 years, and he had never been flounder gigging. So I rigged up a bunch of lights. What I did, took a camping pole, hollow one, and I put a 12-volt light with a reflector on the bottom of it, and cables that run up through the
Floor?
to the middle of that camping thing, and run back to a battery that we had in an inner tube, a big 12-volt battery with a bottom to the inner tube. We set that battery in there, and that's what we powered 2 lights off of. Well, you go along and hold that light in front of you if you've never been flounder gigging. And in the fall of the year, about this year too, they left to lay there where the water will wash back and forth over them, and you can see the print of that flounder laying there in the water before you get to him. And my brother had never been. He'd owned that place 5 or 6 years. So I carried him along. He's going along. I said, "Hey, you got one right in front of you." Well, he took that silver gig, which was wasn't up but a straight shaft, pointed shaft, and he gigged that flounder, run him back up, and when we took him in, he was a 12-pounder.
That's a pretty good sized flounder. It must have been as big around as a car wheel.
He was a big flounder, you know, and I think he weighed 12 pounds, and that got him that got him interested in flounder, so he bought him a flounder net. Now, it's illegal to do this now, but back then, several years ago, you could put a flounder net out there in the inland waterway. It wasn't the inland waterway, in the bay, and you could you'd catch flounder. And one night, we pulled that net twice. We got 312 flounders, eating size. So, and we sold most of them to the fish market, and they brought about $3 and something a pound back then. And so we made probably $700-800 off them flounder that we didn't keep. So he was in the flounder business there for a long time after I went down there and showed him how to do all that.
Well, I've been gigging, but I never did get anything.
What, you've been frog gigging?
No, I used to shoot them with a BB gun.
Well,
I've got several of them that way.
I flounder gigged them a lot of them. There's an old rock quarry that flooded, I don't know how many acres of trees and more or less a swampy area back there. And you can take a canoe and a big good flashlight, and you go along and you can get some frogs a lot bigger than your fist, or maybe both fists put together. And I like frog legs, you know. So I used to go once in a while and get some gig some frogs and bring them back and give me some frog
I like
legs.
frog legs too, but ain't had none. I think I got some down at the Chinese restaurant once. At least they told me there's frog legs. I hope there was.
Yeah, I've seen them there.
But they ain't as good as them kind you go get and fry them. You see, of course, they're hard to get killed. They'll just keep a jumping while you're frying them.
Well, you ever eat any eel?
You what?
Eels.
No, don't know nothing about no eels.
Okay, now eels are in the waters down where I'm from. You know, I don't know whether there's any up here in the colder mountain streams or not, but there's plenty of them down there on my farm. And an old eel, you catch him, he'll be about that long. He look like a black snake, what he'll look like. And you cut him up in little bitty pieces and put him in the frying pan, and he'll jump there for a pretty good while you're frying it, especially when you put salt on him. He'll jump in that frying pan. They're good eating, eel is.
Well, I don't know anything about eel. I know them blamed old gars out there will take your stuff off of the stringer after you've caught it and hung it up.
I shot a gar about that long one time.
You know, it's illegal to kill gar around here.
It wasn't down at home, you know, and I was up there and I kept seeing something go up and down the stream there, sitting up there. I think, I forget what caliber rifle I had. It was a little bit bigger than a 22. And I said, I'm going to shoot that joker next time he comes down through there, which I did. I don't know whether I hit him or whether the concussion knocked him out or not, but I waded out there and got him. His big old gar had a snout on him about that long, you know.
Did you ever see a shovel-bill catfish?
Do what?
You ever see a shovel-bill catfish?
No, but I've heard of them. Raymond, he used to work for me. You remember Raymond and Jimmy?
Yeah.
Raymond hooked one up there where he lived off of Greasy Creek. I don't know whether you know where Greasy Creek is or not, but he hooked one up there, and he said he rammed his boat, tried to turn him over and everything. He finally, this has been many years ago, said he shot him with a .38 pistol, dragged him in and weighed 104 pounds.
A shovel-bill?
Yeah.
Well, I bet he's spooky looking.
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen one alive. Guy used to work for us down here. He'd caught one, had the head mounted, and he just had the quacker and the part of his head on a board.
Right.
They're a peculiar looking thing. They're in the lake, but I don't know. I don't know anybody catching any.
Are they protected now?
Probably, I don't know.
I believe they're protected now, but I know where you can catch some right up there off of Greasy Creek, 'cause that's the area they stay in.
Well, I don't need any. I don't reckon.
Don't believe I need any either. I like catfish, but I eat them little old yellow cats. Yeah.
Well, I didn't catch any. I caught one catfish this year, and it got off before I got it on the bank. And I usually, the only time I can catch fish is in the spring. I catch catfish, and the lake was up and down, up and down, up and down. I didn't do no good this year. Of course, I wasn't here all the time. I was in Arizona when it was raining so much here.
It wasn't raining out in Arizona, was it?
No, before I left, it kind of rained enough to turn the dust into mud, but
Right.
not on the ground, just on my truck. Had
Right.
mud about that deep on it.
I know I've been out in Oklahoma when it's been real wet and rainy.
Yep.
That's some of the slickest mud I've ever been in is in Oklahoma. It's slicker than what we got around here, and that's plenty slick.
And that's that there old clay without any rocks in it, ain't it?
That's what it is, yeah. But I'm looking forward. I want to go back out and spend a little time around in New Mexico. You know, if you go out there in the summer, if you go up in the higher elevations in the mountains, it's very pleasant and cool. You know.
It was snowing when I was there earlier.
And what month was that? July?
No, that was January.
Was it?
Yeah, it snowed there in the campground where I was at, and I stayed a couple of nights because I was waiting on the snow to melt. It wasn't deep, but it kind of got cold, I'll tell you.
Yeah, well, I was out in Colorado, and I believe it was April, and they had a heck of a snow there. I was at Fort Collins, which is a little bit up from Denver, and I had plenty of snow in April.
Well, I was in Yellowstone about 40 years ago in either late August or early September, and they were giving snow. We left, And me and Ike was out in I guess we was in New Mexico, 'cause I believe we'd already come out of Colorado and gone into New Mexico when it snowed the night we was there. Come a good snow too, I tell you.
Right, yeah.
I had that there old Explorer and we put it in four-wheel drive. Had to crawl up and under it and peck on it. You know, that's one of them Fords that they give you a little hammer when you buy it so you can crawl up in there and peck on the transfer case. I got elected. It was below zero. Well, no, it was about 10 degrees or something, and snow about 6-8 inches deep, and I had to crawl up and under there and peck on it while I put it in four-wheel drive. And we drove all day in four-wheel drive and survived. I guess we survived. We're still here.
Was that before or after you tried to pull that dually with it?
That was after. I did pull that dually.
I know you did. It was all that little Explorer wanted.
You know, when I don't know what that the gas gauge never worked on that thing. And whenever I towed you out of the holler, what'd you have on it? You was loaded, wasn't you?
I don't remember. I remember you just couldn't hardly get me moving. Once you got me moving, we can't come
I didn't
down
think we was ever going to get on the road down there, but we did and got up here. And
You know I still got that truck, don't you?
no, is that it that you wrecked down here?
No. He's parked behind in the lot back here behind the metal
Is it
shop.
that white when you traded that off, didn't you?
No, this is that brown and beige one.
Okay.
And,
Well, you got junk everywhere, just like me. But when I went and got my gas gauge started working
yeah.
after I told you, and it worked. I went and put gas in again, and it's been tore up ever since.
Well, that dually I'm telling you about, that's the one that I pulled out. I jacked it up. Was going to change the tire on it because it had a bad tire on the left front.
Mm-hmm.
And while I was gone, somebody stole my jack, stole the radiator out of it, and two old sorry batteries I had in it. So I need to put a radiator in it and two batteries, and I've already got the tire changed. So, and that old truck will run. It's got a $1,800 some transmission in it. That
Allison?
yeah.
Is it Allison?
Yeah, and transmission's probably worth more than the truck and everything, but that's a good truck. It's got a 7.3 in it, and it never used any oil. It always cranked, and like I say, I was going to change that tire, put a couple of batteries in it, and drive it away from there, and while I was gone, somebody let the jack down, stole my jack, stole the radiator out of it, and two old batteries which were bad.
Was it back here?
No, it was up there to Denver.
Okay.
But I still got it. I'm still a proud owner. I was a proud owner of a tractor and a bush hog, but I think somebody done confiscated that, you know. You know the guy that got it?
Got your battery and stuff?
No, got the tractor.
Oh, I know who come by there and told me. Another fella was coming after it. He
Yeah.
had told him about it.
All right.
Yeah, I know who. I know the
Okay.
two fellas.
Okay, good. Because I ain't got my money yet.
Well, you know, there's a discount on that when somebody else has to collect it.
Oh, you got it?
No. Not unless you agree with the discount anyway. No, I ain't seen no looter. You sure they got the tractor?
No, I'm not sure. He called me this morning and talked to me about it, said he's going to take it. They'd pick it up today and that he'd get my money to me. He'd get back with me, but I haven't heard from him all day, so maybe I will. If I don't, I'm going to tell him that Ronnie's going to sue him for taking his tractor.
He come and told me he was going to come over and look at it. He must have went and looked at it. and he decided, see, the guy that was buying it, I don't reckon he'd seen it, but he must have went and looked at it and decided he's going to buy it, and I don't know what
No, I
happened.
never saw the guy that's getting it. I just saw his buddy there, yeah.
Now, I think I know the guy. I mean, I'd have to see him to see. I know his last name, and I think I know him, but I'd have to see his face to know which one of them he is.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll get with him. Like I say, I just, wanted to find out if I owed you any money, because I took, was sitting there fertilizing your ground. And
Well, we're going to have to talk about back rent, sure enough.
It's been my experience, it's hard enough to collect current rent, much less back rent. That's kind of like feeding somebody a meal you're going to collect after they eat.
I'll tell you what, some people just take advantage of your hospitality.
Right? Yeah, I'm going to pull that old dually that's in the back here out, and I'm going to I found a radiator for it fairly reasonable. I can buy one for a little over $100. But I found a radiator fairly reasonable. I'll get a couple of batteries for it, and it needs one more tire on the back. It's got one's got a cut in it, and I'm gonna drive that thing because it's like I say, it's got a rebuilt Allison transmission in it that cost me $1,800 and some to get rebuilt, and there's a lot of life left in that old truck.
Well, be bad if your truck lasted longer than you do, wouldn't it?
It'd have to be a good one. Yeah. I got to get that white one fixed up, and everybody comes by there, wanting to buy it, they want to steal it, but I'm not going to give that truck away. I just got 104,000 miles on that diesel.
How many?
104,000.
That ain't bad.
No.
I got 200 on my newest car.
Have you? You talking about your truck or your car?
My car, the truck's got nearly 4 on it.
Nearly 400.
Yeah.
That was Terry's daddy's truck, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think they put a motor in it before I got it. My earphones are cutting in and out on one side. Is it plugged in good?
What you talking about? Is it plugged into your ear or what?
No, I know my ears is plugged in.
Okay.
Well,
How are you?
I guess it's all right. It ain't. Well, it don't matter. I can hear me. I know what I said anyway.
Okay, all right. When are we gonna launch this thing live?
Well, maybe next week,
Okay.
'cause he's finally got his, what do you call it? It ain't a router, it's a modem.
Modem.
Yeah, he got his modem, and now we're waiting on one more thing here for some reason. And
When I come every night. I come with my Mojo. So if that's a help, you can borrow my Mojo.
I don't know. Are you gonna go on the radio or television or anything?
I don't know. I'm so comfortable doing nothing. I don't know what I will or not.
I know I hate to come here once a week. Wouldn't be so bad if you wasn't here too.
Well, what I was thinking, if I did go, I tried to get one like 7 o'clock on Thursday night. So while I'm out, I'll just stay out.
Well, we'll do this thing however you want to. Yeah, we might. If there's anybody out there watching this thing, we may be live next week. We may not. We may not be alive next week. Make enough enemies between now and then.
I plan on being here.
I'm thinking about going and join a peaceful protest somewhere if I can get a pocket full of rocks.
What are these people that they were honestly having a rally or something, and the police showed up and told them that they could not have a rally during the coronavirus situation. They said, well, we're not having a rally, we're having a protest. And so that allowed them to do what they wanted to do.
Yeah, I know. Trump said it was a peaceful political protest.
So you didn't see in the Republican convention last night?
No, I ain't even got nothing. I guess I could watch it on the internet, but
They had some good speakers to come about, and I think that one of the black people that spoke, he was from Kentucky, but I believe he played football at Tennessee. I'll try to think of his name in just a minute, but he spoke at the convention Tuesday night. And Herschel Walker, where'd Herschel play football at?
yeah, Georgia or Mississippi won.
Was it? Okay.
Let's see here.
But he made a real good speech for the Republicans, and I don't think the Democrats are going to be able to take all the black votes for granted this year. Herschel Walker says, says I'm black and I do not intend to vote for Joe Biden. So Joe Biden said if you didn't vote for him,
University
you
of
wouldn't
Georgia.
vote. Georgia, okay, all right. Well, like say I think, where was he from originally? Did he say?
Wrightsville, Georgia.
He's from Georgia.
Yep.
Okay, all right. Good deal. He made a real good speech, and so did Tim Scott, who's the senator from South Carolina. And, of course, they had Marsha Blackburn on there. She was on there last night, not Tuesday night. And so they've had a real good convention. I think it's been a real upbeat situation. And not just for Trump supporters, but for everybody in the country. I think it's been an uplifting experience by what's been said, because it's very much upbeat, very much pro-American, very much pro-Constitution, and not at all a racist situation. And so I think it's going to be interesting what comes down on November. It could be like, I remember when Richard Nixon was running against George McGovern.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Okay, well, they were so afraid of George McGovern.
They broke in the hotel.
They broke in, which, and then Nixon got caught trying to cover up for him. But they didn't have to, because Nixon took every state in the Union, I think except one, didn't he?
Yeah, I think old McGovern carried wherever he's from, one of the northwestern states. Where's he from? South Dakota?
I think so. I think that was the only state that McGovern carried, was the one he was from. And Nixon they didn't have to do that, but they were so afraid of McGovern and his socialist ideas that they staged this break-in at the Watergate Hotel.
South Dakota.
Yeah, South Dakota, yeah. And okay, I noticed also, I saw somebody I knew personally.
Talk into that thing.
I saw somebody I knew personally on the TV on the Republican convention.
Who was it? The guy wrote you the ticket down there in Georgia?
No. It was a guy by the name of Henderson, and he was one of the 4 guys that did the sit-in at Woolworth's lunch counter in Greensboro. And I kept looking at him, kept hearing him talk, and I saw his name and things, and it occurred to me that he was one of the 4 that was sitting there at the lunch counter.
Mm-hmm.
And his name is Henderson. And you can look him up, and you see him there. He was one of the 4 that sat down originally at the lunch counter. And you know Jesse Jackson was there, but I never did see Jesse in there supporting any of those boys sitting at the lunch counter. I could be wrong. He could have been there when I wasn't there because I taught school during the day. I got up there like about 3:30, 4 o'clock, and I'd hang around there for about an hour until my wife got off from working at the bank, which was almost catty-cornered up the street from the Woolworths department store or five and dime store, whatever it was, you know. And but I don't remember. I remember seeing Jesse Jackson around town, but I don't ever remember seeing him around the lunch counter movement.
Well, that's for my time.
Well, not really. You were an infant.
Yeah, but I wasn't going to no sit-ins and no restaurants either.
Why? Well, Henderson was his name, and I didn't look him up on the internet, but I'm pretty sure he's one of the ones that was the original four that sat down. One of them was a Smith boy, and one of them was what was his name? He was a something another McNeil. He was a McNeil. There was a McNeil boy. Henderson, a Scott, a Smith, and I forget what the fourth one's name was.
Well, I don't know.
But I recognized him, and of course he's like 40, 60 years since I've seen him. Or about
Hadn't
60
changed a
years.
bit, had he?
No, probably not as much as I had. But that was real interesting. He was talking about that, and that was real personal to me because I had been right there when that was going on, and in fact, had gone into the lunchroom and the lunch counter, and they wanted to serve me, and they wasn't serving them boys there, so I didn't order anything. I just left.
Well,
You know who else was in
I'm
school?
trying to find out who them fellers was.
Okay, look up the Woolworth lunch counter protest. But you know who else was there other than those four and Jesse Jackson? The guy that we have incarcerated and in jail now, who supposedly was the mastermind for 9/11. He was in school there at A&T University. It was A&T College then, it's a university now. But he was in school there. I remember seeing him. I never had any association with him, but I remember seeing him hanging around there, which the Woolworths was just right up the street from the college. It was in walking distance.
What was them fellers you said? I found them here. What was the names you had?
One of them was Henderson, and I think there was a Smith boy, and maybe a McNeil boy. I'm not sure.
Well, it says here there's a David Richmond, Franklin McCain, Ezell A. Blair Jr., and Joseph McNeil.
Oh, Joseph McNeil, okay. Yeah, okay. But I thought that Henderson guy was in there too.
He must have been whenever one of these went to pee or something.
Maybe. Yeah, I remember McNeil. And,
In July 1960, I thought it was about 57,
no,
58.
it's 1960, yeah. Yeah, I was teaching school, and my wife was working at the bank just right up the street from Woolworths, and this was back before they kept requiring you to stay there so long at school. So I'd take the school let out at 3:15. By 3:30, I was in Greensboro. I'd left that place, and you didn't have to worry about getting run over by the kids going out the door. You had to worry about getting run over by the teachers going out the door, and but that was an interesting time to teach school. I taught school from 1957 to about 1965 or something like that.
That was back when we had that learning gap here, ain't it? They went spending all that money to fix it.
Probably. But I did the first remedial reading program sponsored by the United States government, which I don't know whether the government ought to be doing that or not. But
You took the money, though, didn't you?
well, I didn't get any extra money by teaching that class, but the little school I was teaching at got some publicity and some good write-ups for having that program, and I did do a good job. I brought kids that were in the 9th and 10th grade. They were reading on the 6th and 7th grade level. I brought them up to grade level, and so.
And I was going to say they come in there reading at the 8th and 9th grade level, and when they left, they couldn't read.
That's about the way it was. But I see those guys I taught in that remedial reading class, you know, and they all remember me, and so.
Well, we've about got in enough time. Bob, you want to say anything special before we leave? And
Well, just want
mention again, we may be live next week. We'll see how that goes, and then we might even take calls or something a few more times at this.
Yeah,
If anybody wants to call us,
right,
don't call collect though.
right. Hey, you want to call from out of state or somewhere? Just be out of rifle range, you know.
We're gonna have any comments turned on to this thing eventually. Well, that's still in the debate stages too.
Right. So, this is a work in progress.
I reckon it is.
So,
Worthless project is what it is.
well, we'll see you next week here
Tally
on,
ho!
here on the Mountain Oracle.